We're now at a point where we can run a ChatGPT-like thing on our MacBook using the Apple Silicon GPU, which makes everything run faster, and we don't have to configure that or go through all the setup that we used to go through. It's much, much easier now. And you can even have your own GPTs, kind of like GPTs that ChatGPT has, on your own machine. And it looks way better than at least the mess that I made last week. Hey, that was a beautiful prompt, okay? If you missed that video, I'll link to it down below. It didn't look very good. Today, it's gonna look good, and we're gonna get a ton of functionality, and it's gonna be fast. Let's do it. Now, there's a couple of ways of going about this. I wanna show you the details that go into it because this, we're software developers. We wanna know what's going on behind the scenes. Plus, this has the added advantage of showing you the code so you can actually take a look under the hood, because I think it's really cool. This is what we're using right here. It's called Open Web UI. We're gonna set up Ollama, and then we're gonna set up this on top of it. The first thing you're gonna do is clone this repository. Now look, I'm gonna show you the step-by-step. I'm assuming that you already know how to clone a Git repository, but I will not assume that you have a local node environment or a Python environment set up. For those videos, I'll link those down below in case you need a refresher. I'm gonna clone this repository. Let's go. Git clone, boom. And here it is. We're gonna go into that directory and let's have a peek at the code. This has everything. This has the front end written in JavaScript. It's actually written in Svelte. Here, go to package.json. So this will run on Node, and this is the front end. We're using Vite and we're using SvelteKit, and this is like all the modern stuff, the modern tech stack stuff. The back end is a Python backend. So that's gonna be in the backend folder. You can take a look at the Python side of things. And this also has Docker configurations. So yes, you can run this through Docker, but first I'm gonna show you how to do this the regular way without Docker. We're gonna kick things off with Ollama. Go to ollama.com and download it. But you're gonna be like, what the heck is Ollama and why should I download it? And why should I run things you tell me? This is the internet. You might be doing bad things to me. So Ollama is like an agent that runs on your machine that automatically manages downloading LLM models. You can go to models here, and these are the models that are available. These are open source models. You got Llama 3, you got Gemma, you got Mixtral, CodeGemma, all these models that are available. And this is an open source project, so you can go to the GitHub page and check out this code too, but we don't need to do that. All we need to do is download this tool. So we're gonna go to the homepage, click on download, macOS. This is available for Linux or Windows, but you're gonna get the macOS version because this is a macOS tutorial. I'm doing this on macOS, Apple Silicon. Let's go. Boom. In your downloads folder, you're gonna get this file, double click on it. It's going to extract Ollama, which you can then drag to your applications folder. Boom. In applications, find Ollama and run it. Are you sure? Yes, we're sure. This is gonna have a little cute llama in your menu bar, and it's running. You can tell that it's running by going to localhost 11434 is the port. Boom. And it says Ollama is running. So how do you use this thing? Well, if you go back to the command line, now you can say Ollama version. It says Ollama version is that version right there, whatever version you might have when you're watching this. Now you can use the Ollama CLI to fetch models, and you can get the model names on the website. Under models, Llama 3, for example. Let's do that. So I'm gonna say Ollama pull Llama 3. Boom, it goes out, it gets the file. It's 4.7 gigabytes. I've already downloaded it before, so it took me absolutely no time at all, but it might take you a few minutes. If I want another one like Llama 2, boom, I also had that one. Let's get one that I didn't have, 5.3. It doesn't matter to you. I'm gonna speed up that video. I'm not gonna make you watch it, but I just wanna see how long it takes. This one is small, it's 2.3 gigabytes, and it says it's gonna take like 25 seconds to download. What's up with all these different models? Well, they have different capabilities. They're trained differently. Llama is from Facebook, Meta. 5.3 is from Microsoft, and Gemma is from Google. Mixtral is from Mistral. All of these companies spend millions of dollars training these models so that you can get them for free and run them locally on your own machine. And you're gonna have to play around to see what gives you the best results for your use cases. All right, I got 3 of these models. What do we do next with this? Well, we can run it. Ollama run, let's go with 5.3. What this will do is create a prompt so you can interact with the model right there. Hi. Boom. Look how fast that is. That's insane. How can I assist you today? But I want you to see something here. I'm gonna open up my activity monitor. I have 64 gigs of RAM on this thing, so the number of models I'll be able to run should fit within that 64 gigabytes. Actually, it's a little less than that. It's about 75% of that. Earlier, I made a video as to why it's less, but we won't get into that here. I wanna open up the GPU history here and have that little window open so we can take a look at what's happening. Because this is not running on the CPU, it's running on the GPU. Completely transparent to us. Write me a 1,000 word essay on JavaScript. Boom. And there it goes. It starts writing that essay. It's really fast. It's crazy fast. It's probably going to be done before we see anything here. Oh, we do see stuff. It's done with the writing, but at least it gave us a little bit of a blue mark right there. You can see that the GPU usage, this is the Apple Silicon GPU, by the way, was almost fully utilized. For that moment, it was generating that text. And we didn't have to configure anything like we did previously. To exit this, I'm going to say bye, because now we need a front end, a pretty UI that looks like ChatGPT. Let's go back to our open web UI project, and I'm going to pop open the terminal here in Visual Studio Code. Control backtick will do that for me. I have Conda installed. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link a video. Conda lets you set up Python environments where you can run Python code and projects. So that's what I have here. It says base because that's the base. I'm not in any active Conda environment, but I will create a new one. Conda create -- name, and I'm gonna call this one Open Web UI, and I wanna use Python equals .311. If you follow my steps right there, you'll be fine. But if you wanna know more details, you can watch that other video. And now we're gonna just use this command to activate that environment. Conda activate Open Web UI. So copy that line, paste it, and now, instead of base, we have Open Web UI here. So now we're inside that Python environment that has Python version 3.11. If we say Python version 3.11, there we go. Now we can go to the back end folder and mistype all kinds of stuff before we get to the point. So I'm gonna do pip install -r requirements. This has a bunch of requirements that we need to install. I'm gonna give it the -u flag for upgrade. And if we take a look at what that is, in the backend folder, we have the requirements.txt file. So it has all these requirements to run the backend. Wow. YouTube transcript API? I wonder if it can do, it probably can. I'm not gonna, for another time. I'm getting distracted here. Pip install -r requirements. This actually takes a couple minutes to do because there's so many requirements and they all have to be installed within this environment. What's nice about this environment setup is I don't have to mess up my Python installation with all these requirements that I might need only for this thing. That's why I like to use Conda. All right, we also have to run the front end environment, which is a Node application. So while that's happening, I'm gonna leave that alone. Oh, it's done. Okay, great. But if it was still working, I can go up here and say I want to do another terminal. I'm gonna use Node and npm. And for Node, I also have an environment manager for that. I use nvm for that. Let's take a look at what version of Node I'm working with here. I'm working with 18. I'm fine with that. You can use a more modern version of Node. This is modern enough for this purpose. For Node version management, I linked another video. You can check that out later, or you can just follow my steps here. Just make sure you have Node installed, okay? Just don't install it wrong. Please, don't install Node globally. You can if you want, but just don't. Let's move on. npm I. What does npm I do? For those of you that don't know, it's going to look at package.json and install all the dependencies that are here. Basically, npm I is short for npm install. Once that's done, we're ready to build this. npm run build, which is gonna do this script right here. Cool. We got our front end. We got our back end. Let's go back to the back end terminal where we just installed all the Python requirements, and we're gonna run bash start.sh. That's in the backend folder. Boom. When you start it up and go to localhost port 8080, it takes you to auth automatically because this has authentication built in with a database. Really cool for you to look at that code, by the way. Check it out. And you do need to sign up. It's not gonna send your credentials anywhere. It's all stored on your machine. This is just for fun. Alex, let's go with my email. This can be a fake email, by the way, which is what I'm gonna do right now. Create account, boom. And now I'm signed in. And look at this beautiful interface. I can start chatting, but I can't really until I select a model. So if we go up here to select a model, you'll see all the models that we have installed. You can switch between them and you can even combine models. I'll show you that in a moment. So we've downloaded Llama 2. You saw me do that. Llama 3 and 5.3. These two, I'll talk about that in a second, where they came from. I can say, let's go with 5.3, and maybe I want to mix in Llama 3, and let's do those two, and I'll say hi to both of them. So it chose Llama 3 for some reason. It says, hello, it's nice to meet you. Is there something I can help you with? This is basically going to old Llama and then returning the result to the back end and then the front end. And that's how you interact with this. In the settings, you have the ability to select a theme, system prompt, advanced parameters. You can play around with that. Here's where you can have models, and you can pull models directly from this user interface. So if you see another model you like Mistral, for example, you can type that in here and pull it down this way. Delete models that exist, all sorts of add-ons for the UI, image generation. By the way, I don't have a video for this yet, but if you want to see an image generation video with Automatic 1111 and how that integrates, let me know in the comments down below. I may just do that here, or maybe a members only video. If you're a member, thank you so much for being a member. If you want to join the channel and support the channel, I make special videos just for members as well as these videos. But don't worry, I'll also make more tutorials and things like that for the main channel as well. If you subscribe, that's completely free. That's your cue to subscribe. And if you like it, if you like these videos, give me a thumbs up so I know. All right, what do we got here? Chats, imports, exports, account. This is your user management. If you click on user, you can sign in, sign out, archive chats, playground. With a playground, that's a little bit different than chat. You can actually add your system prompt. You might not know this, but when you're using ChatGPT, there's a system prompt that gets sent along with your prompt, in addition to the context. Now, here's a really cool thing. Prompts. This allows you to basically store your own prompts. If you like some prompts, you've created them, they work well for you, you can store them in here, you can import them, you can export them, and you can use community prompts. So there's a whole community that shares their prompts that you can access through this UI. It's not working right now. Maybe when you try it, it'll work. But what I did try was this right here. If you go to model files, you have made by Open Web UI community. This is basically like GPTs in ChatGPT, where people put together their own little models. But it's more than just GPTs. GPTs is basically you provide a context, you provide some sample prompting, but here people can actually add their own models to it. So for example, Code Companion. This gives you the model file content. So it gives you a system prompt. It gives you some parameters to start with. When you install this, it loads it up, icon and everything. See this model tag name? This will actually grab the model that's associated, that's been fine-tuned. I'm guessing it's been fine-tuned. If you know any better, let me know in the comments, by this person that created this thing. So if you go to save and create, it's going to pull the manifest, download any associated models, which may be large. See that pull progress right there? It's gonna take a little bit of time because this thing is pulling down two pretty large files. I think these are 216 billion parameter models that is pulling down related to code generation specifically. So I'm gonna have some coffee. I don't know about you, but that's what I'm gonna do. I'm out of coffee. I'm gonna have to sit here and wait. We're almost there, folks. We're almost there. We got Code Companion. So now when I go to new chat, I can select that Code Companion model. Write me some code. I know, super descriptive, but you're probably sick of seeing all the examples. Let's see what it comes up with when just prompted like that. Oh, it chose Go. And there we go. Get it? I'm sure it can write some code, beautiful code, but this is not a video about that. We're all set up, folks, but there's one more thing, and I told you about Docker. Now, I do have Docker installed. You can go to Docker Desktop, Products, Docker Desktop, download for Mac. Make sure it's the Mac Apple chip version, if that's in fact what you have. Run Docker Desktop, and again, I have entire development setup videos. I'll link to one of those down below, how I set up my development environment on Mac. That includes Docker. Once Docker is up and running, it's really easy peasy. All you gotta do is go right here, open WebUI, and you want to go to the docs and getting started. In fact, this is way easier than the steps that I showed you, but I wanted to show you the details so that you know what goes on behind the scenes, because for developers, that's a little bit more important, I think, than just having the thing run, because that gives you extra knowledge and extra power. When you're looking at this code and you have the project, everything is here. It's a beautiful thing, including the Docker configuration, Docker Compose. There's the Docker file right there. It tells you everything that's being pulled, what ports are being mapped, what drives are being mapped, and so on. But I will give you one single command to run. You can skip all this stuff right here and run this command right here. It's right under this headline in the documentation, and I will actually copy and paste this and put it in the description. Now you know how to run this web UI, which is very good looking. It's so easy. There is another way to run local LLMs if you don't want to be limited by the models that Ollama provides. And I made a video for that too, right over here. Check that out, and I'll see you in the next one.